Ladies and gentlemen, patriot, truth seekers, digital warriors, as you already know, this is not a regular broadcast. This is Operation Airways Liberation, and it is the Baraka Show. And as of right now, we are on the surge. We are fighting a battle with YouTube. YouTube trying to take us this. They're trying to take this channel down. Well, they're actively trying to take this channel down, and that's why you can see we don't get that many views. It's demonetized. It's censored. But that's a battle that I'm fighting. Together, we're fighting to raise money to fight YouTube. You can find the link in the description. But hey, I want to tell you about this battle. That if we didn't win, I would not be sitting here today speaking English, and probably yourself too. I want to talk about this battle that somehow we don't look back into it, and somehow we don't even teach our kids about it. And as a patriot, as somebody who love and care and would fight for this land, I want to remember the people who also fought for this land. And I don't want their fight to just disappear in history. So I want to talk about this battle. And it was the Battle of Britain. Just think about it. The Battle of Britain. Yes, let's talk about it. It's important. It should be to every single person. So I want to tell you this story. So on the night of December 29th, 1940, Germany bombers targeted London in one of the most ferocious nights of the BRICS. Amid chaos, amid the people being scared, people running for shelters, people don't want to, just chaos, blood everywhere. But it seemed like there was a lot of people that united together, left, right, middle, wherever you were, whatever these guys were, they united to defend and fight. To defend of St. Paul's Cathedral from being destruction. And one of those people who was with them was Dorothy. I think you guys have probably heard this name before. Dorothy was a fire watcher. She was a grandmother. Well, she is a grandmother to a British politician, British MP, Robert Jenrick from the Conservative Party. And of course, Robert Jenrick has been very vocal about her. Rightfully so. She was a hero. And she participated in this battle, the Battle of Britain. And it was a moment where the kingdom was united. Talk about uniting. Yes, the kingdom was united. They stood tall against Nazi Germany, the Nazi war machine, and they defeated them. And they was alone. It was just Britain fighting in the air. Defeating the evil principalities. Yes. And that moment today, when we look back into it, the reason why I'm speaking with this tone is because I wanna inject some patriotism in you. I want you to feel proud that women, mothers, grandmothers, grandpas, disabled people, all of these people took turn to defend the nation in the capital city, and we won, and that's why we're here today. So it's a moment that defined a generation. And yet today, it seemed like that moment, or maybe that picture of history, is fading away. It's fading away fast. And it's only 85 years since then. But somehow the public don't even talk about it anymore. Just a quick pause, guys. I need your help. We need your help. Because this machine have tried everything. They've deplatformed us once. They've shadow banned us, as you can see from the views. Blacklisted us, and the channel remains demonetized. You want to know why? Because we report on something that they don't want you to know. But guess what? We're still here. We're still standing, broadcasting raw, unfiltered truth right through the technocrat machine that they want you to live in. They want your system. They want everybody to live in this machine, so then they can surveil and control and see what you're saying, see what you're not saying. But we resist that. But I have to be honest with you. Yeah, we are running a little bit thin, and we need your help to keep this channel alive. Because the bills, they can't pay themselves, as we already know it. The system, the server, the little crew that we got, the little studio that we have right now, it's all powered by you. All the donation that we get, it keeps this alive. It keeps the crew alive. And yes, I get it. They want to silence us. They want to shut down the show. Because, yeah, it's the last firewall between you and the psychological warfare that they call news. Because we tell the truth. We don't control the news. We give it to you raw and you make your own decision with it. But here's the good news though. Because there's many of us than them. Because we got a lot of freedom-loving warriors here listening to us like you. So, I'm asking you, every listener who can chip in a few quid a month or once, not only gonna make us survive, but expand the team and expand the mission. So I'm asking you to keep us on air, keep the mission alive, and keep this voice on chain. Not just my voice, many other people who are asking for help too. So if you're able to, if you can, go to the link in the description, the first link in the description, just leave something, leave a donation. It could be 50p, it could be £50, 500, it could be anything. We appreciate it. And I want you to know this is not charity, this is a resistance. We're not here to beg, we're here to fight, as you already been seeing us fight. But with your help, we win, and we always win, always. Let's get back into the video. And I'm gonna read you the numbers of the people who remember, or the people who know. And trust me, you will be sick to your stomach to see how backwards we are. Now, I want to play you this video of Robert Jenrick. He's been very vocal about it, and I do respect this guy. He's been doing really well on this matter. So, here's Robert Jenrick.
Well, it's a bit self-indulgent, but I've wanted to do this since I was a boy. But I'm in a Spitfire for an important reason. To bring attention to and commemorate the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. 1 in 5 pilots died. They never came back. Many more were seriously injured. At one stage, the life expectancy of a Spitfire pilot was 6 weeks.
By the summer of 1940, Europe had fallen. Britain stood alone. From the skies, the all-powerful German Air Force pounded our cities, day after day, week after week, month after month. Pilots as young as 19 waited on RAF bases across southern England for the sound of a bell, marking another deadly raid. They'd come from across our country and beyond to defend our freedom. They battled in Spitfires and Hurricanes, great feats of British engineering. They were supported from the ground by courageous men and women at airfields and radar stations, and by volunteers who fought the fires started by German bombs. A truly national effort. Ordinary people doing the most extraordinary things. Over 500 pilots lost their lives during those fateful months, but against the odds, we prevailed. It's been 85 years since those brave young men made the ultimate sacrifice to save the country they loved. They fought with a spirit we must never let die, and a spirit our generation must honour by building a Britain those airmen would admire.
If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour.
So Robert Jenrick's comments come on the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. He's calling for change in the national curriculum. I agree. To make this as a pivotal moment in British history, to make this as a mandatory in schools, just like we learned about Holocaust, we learned about that in history, and I think we should also learn about British history as well. I mean, the heroes, what the British people did. We only learn about what the bad guys did. Hey, tell us what the heroes did. And if they teach about heroes, they always teach about Americans' heroes. No, we want to know what our British heroes did. Tell us more about that. Tell us about the grammars who went, spied to keep the nation strong. Tell us about the young men, 19, 18, 21 years old, who got in the pilot, in the Air Force to fight, Tell us about the people who only had months to learn how to shoot and went in the front line to defend the nation. I want to talk about that. I want to know that as well. So, of course, I do support Robert Jenrick on this. Huge, it's important. Now, I did say I'm going to read you the polls, and the polls are not lying, and they are. I hope they were lying, but this one, it's real, and it's not something to be proud of. Because according to the poll commissioned by Robert Jenrick and conducted by Find Out Now, 64% of Britain under the age of 40 could not link the Battle of Britain to the RAF defense against the Nazi German in 1940. So what that means is that these guys don't know that the British RAF are the ones who defeated the Nazi German. Yeah, that's scary. So they know that we won, but they don't know who did it. They don't know who participated. They don't know who lost their arm and legs to this. They don't know. Well, I'm going to read another polling. Even more startling, 44% of Britain didn't know that UK won the battle. Yeah. So 64% don't know that. They don't know if Britain participated into into defending. They don't know if RAF participated into the defeat and defense of the nation. They don't know about that. That's 64%. And then 44% don't know if Britain won. And these are big numbers, folks. 64 and 44, bro. That's a big number. So you can tell the kids. Well, these are not kids. Well, they said under 40, so we can still say they're kids. Yeah, under 40. So probably my age, 30, 24. In their 30s, in their teens. They don't know, and this is the most important years for you to know, because you're raising kids. They're asking questions, and you want to tell them. Let's say you're 32, and you got 4 years old. They want to ask you the annoying questions like, "Hey, what happened? Tell me some stories." And you want to tell them stories like this. So when they grow up, they have some sense of pride. Some sense of proudness in their nation. They have some sense of proudness in their, when they see the statues, when they go past the, history places in London or Manchester or any of these places that we have some statues. We don't have as many. I think we should. We should have as many statues as possible. But hey, that's another video to make, another cry out to make. Now, currently, the Battle of Britain is obviously optional for teachers to teach in the school. Unlike the Holocaust, that is basically mandatory to teach Holocaust. Almost everybody has to learn it, and rightfully so. I agree, but I think we should also learn our heroes, the people from Britain. The British people. Who were they? What did they sacrifice? And I want to know all this, because they could have easily chose to stay out of it and make a deal with Stalin and make a deal with Hitler and be like, hey Hitler, yeah, you just invade and you just expand on that east and you do your thing and you take Poland and you take this. We won't have nothing to do with it. Well, Britain could have easily done that. No, because we stood strong and we said, hey, no, you're not gonna do that under our watch. No. You're not going to go out there and bully and kill people under our watch. We're going to invade. We're going to go out there and we're going to defeat you. And we did. And I think the young people in school need to learn that as well. They need to learn it. So Robert Jenrick is calling for this to be a mandatory curriculum. And it wants the British young people to learn about this. Yeah, and I agree. I support that. I support him for that. Now, the Battle of Britain wasn't just a military victory; it was a psychological victory. It proved that Hitler could be resisted. It galvanized their allies and they gave Britain the moral high ground for us to stand on. And it gave a lot of people hope around the world that they can also join and will win. Because if we had lost, a lot of people would have been like, they must be strong. You know, Nazi Germany, they must be strong. Let's not go against them. But guess what? We won. So more people thought, all right, actually, let's join. And maybe that's why America joined. Because we were doing good. Because I think if we were losing bad, America will probably be like, hey, we're far away. Why should we join? But because we were winning, they knew they just needed to give us a little push, and they did. And we just, and now all the movies, just say Americans the heroes. But I think the British people should take the medals too. Now, Robert Jenrick argued that neglecting this history leaves young people vulnerable to ideological manipulation. I agree. He warns that when students are taught to feel shame about their country, they lose framework that allowed heroism to flourish in a country. They lose the framework of courage. They lose that. And I also agree. And I want to play you this video from GB News. And just look at the reporter. The reporter, very good clip as well. And very creative the way they went out there to get in one of these aircrafts to showcase how hard and how tough it was back then to be a pilot, and how deadly it was to even enter in one. Because the numbers are shocking, and we lost a lot of young people some of them volunteered, some of them didn't have enough training. They just got in to save the nation. Now watch this from GB News.
You've caught me mid-flight. We're in the Hangar 42, and I have really got into the spirit. Of course, 85 years ago today, the war really started to turn in Britain's favour with Battle of Britain Day, as what we are commemorating today. And I've got dressed up as a pilot, sitting in an actual real-life Spitfire. This is not just a simulator. This is a real-life Spitfire that's been kitted out to do simulations here at the Spitfire Centre in Blackpool. John Puttock joins us now. You're the engineering lead here, and this is quite a fancy bit of kit, and really, I guess, lets people experience what those pilots would have done 85 years ago today.
Absolutely. This aeroplane, is part of the hangar display here at Blackpool, and Andy Harper, our specialist, actually put this aeroplane together and has enabled it to act and behave exactly like a real aircraft would. And it's available to the public to come up and have a go and see if they can fly a Spitfire. And
tell us about the significance of this aircraft 85 years ago today, the Battle of Britain. Things start to turn in Britain's favour.
Absolutely. This is a Mark V Spitfire. Early days they were using the Mark II, and that aircraft had 8 Browning machine guns firing 303 bullets. This Mark V actually incorporated some 20mm Hispano cannons, and so gave the aircraft a lot more punch and enabled it to be more successful.
And I've got all of this gear on. A lot of it is kind of fur and real thermal stuff. That's because the temperature up there at the height of the altitude that they were flying was absolutely freezing.
Absolutely. I mean, the higher you go, then obviously the colder it gets. But if you're at around about 25,000 feet, you're going to be experiencing temperatures of between -25 and 30. There is no heating in the aircraft, so from that point of view, the only way you're going to stay warm is to dress for it. So, as the Queen once said, there's no such thing as the wrong weather, it's just the wrong clothing. You're sat there, your movement will be restricted by the fact that you've got all this clothing on, but if you didn't have that on, you would soon freeze to death.
So how incredible then were these pilots to not only obviously be wearing all this kit, it's a tight squeeze as it is, so to wearing all this kit, but then actually having to face the Luftwaffe, having to face those Messerschmitts flying over British skies. That was a real difficult job.
Absolutely, when you consider the fact that most pilots were aged between 19 and 21, and very young men, but carried out their duties spectacularly. Had we not been successful in the Battle of Britain, then the world will be a totally different place today.
And the polling out today showing that 2/3 of adults under 40 don't even sometimes know what the Battle of Britain is. But to come here, I guess, and experience something like this, it's all about education, whether it's an older generation, whether it's a younger generation. So much is about education.
Absolutely. And as John, our leader, said earlier on, we do educational tours. We take a lot of school children in. I think we do around about 60 of the schools that are in the local location. Manchester, down further south, come here and they will learn about the Battle of Britain. And we aim at the hangar to keep those memories alive.
All right, John, thank you so much for joining us. Just hearing there, amazing what these pilots had to go through, the kind of equipment and the gear that they had to operate and wear. It is quite incredible to think of the job and the task that they were faced with 85 years ago and how successful they were. But if you don't mind me, I've got to go back to defending the skies.
And do you know what, Jack? The thing that amazes me is the average age of those pilots. We're talking about 19 or 20 years of age.
Well, quite, and that's you kind of think people leave school at that age now. At that age, 85 years ago, they were jumping into Spitfires, training in places here like Blackpool, ready to go and fight the Luftwaffe. And not only the skill that would require, but also the bravery to go up into the skies where they might not have ever been before and take on, and conduct those dogfights that are so famous in the Battle of Britain. Quite incredible to think that they were able to do that.
Robert Jenrick's comment has tapped into a broader cultural debate. In recent years, British identity has become has got under scrutiny. Statues has been toppled, and we've seen that in the Black Lives Matters movement. We've been seeing our flag being mocked. We've been seeing history being reinterpreted. Being changed to make people feel bad or to make people feel like guilty and and scared to express how proud they are. And now I think if we was to bring this back in school, it's gonna set a good precedent for the next generation and for the next classes of young students that will come out from these institutions. Now, I want to read you another poll. Earlier this year, YouGov server found that only 11% of Gen Z said they would fight for Britain if war was to break out. That's dangerous. That is scary. Only 11% of Gen Zs say that they would fight for Britain if war was to break out. I mean, what? Yeah, so definitely something needs to be taught. We need to have some changes in the school. We need to get them we need to get them to be. We need to make them patriot again. We need to make them patriots again. And I'm all for this. I like this. It's good to go out there and march. It's good to go out there and do protest. But hey, sometimes we need to actually teach people how to have courage, because that's the only thing they need to be able to defeat evil. That's why we're fighting YouTube right now, because we've gained courage like from courage like Dorothea, Robert Jenrick's grandmother, courage from those individuals who fought before us. And we out here fighting big institutions like YouTube. I mean, we're small guys. I could have easily just given up. But hey, I'm fighting. We're raising money. We're fighting for these guys. And this is another fight I want to tell you about. And I want you to know that, hey, this fight was full of volunteers. People who volunteered to go and protect the nation. I mean, we are so divided right now. I don't even think that many people will turn up to volunteer. I mean, I just read you the poll. Only 11% of Gen Z would fight. Everybody else will stay on TikTok to watch and make fun of and burn the flag. I mean, that is dangerous. We need that fixed. So, Robert Jenrick, if you want me to come with you and march with you to get the young population on this side, shout me, brother. I am here. Of course, I'm not endorsing any political party. I just want the country. I just want the people to be patriotism. I just want the people to love the nation that they're living in. So shout me, of course. Now, of course, a lot of people volunteered. There was like 6 million Brits who volunteered as fire watchers. Of course, Dolphin's story is like so many of others. It's personal, it's powerful, and right now is nearly forgotten. And that's why we need to make these videos to remind the public, hey, there was people who volunteered to lose their life. I mean, what are you doing? You don't want to turn up to the protest because it's raining? Really? Maybe that's why we have the numbers we have right now. Only 11% of Gen Zs would fight if the war was to break out. And maybe that could be because the politicians, it shouldn't be like that. The politicians come and go. They should always go. I know they come in and they're sticking to the power and they don't want to lose it. They want to stay. They want to stay. I know. But fighting for the nation should never be linked to who is leading the country at that time. It doesn't matter who's leading the country. You just need to fight because that person will go and you will go. The next generation will be grateful that the country stood tall and defeated evil. So, Robert Jenrick, if you want me to stand on the line with you, let me know. We're going to get the black guys. We're going to get the youth. We're going to get all these guys in line. And we're going to march to make sure they remember the people who fought before us. Because right now I believe there's a battle that we need to fight and win for the next generation. And I'm sure they'll be grateful for the work that we're going to be doing, for the work that we're doing right now. So, I'm going to carry on. Robert Jenrick's proposal is simple. Here's his proposal. He wants to make the Battle of Britain mandatory in schools. He wants it to be taught alongside. He wants this to be taught alongside the Holocaust. He wants this to be embedded in the national story. And I think that is good. Whether this gains traction, whether this story gains tractions or not, it's going to remain something that we need to see. I think it's already gaining traction. I'm making a video about it. I've learned about it. I'm reading. I'm constantly trying to find out more about it. The newspaper just made a story about it with with Robert Jenrick's face on it. So hey, brother, you're doing good. Keep on going. Keep on doing it. Keep on pushing. And hopefully there'll be more creators who will jump on this and spread the word, because I think that's the way it should be. Now, again, let me read you this quick little passage here. History isn't just about the past. It's about who we are and who we choose to become. The Battle of Britain lasted from July to October 1940. Over 1,500 British aircrew lost their lives. Their sacrifice helped turn the tide of the World War II around. Now, let's make sure the next generation remembers that as well. Well, I'll try to make sure the next generation remembers that. Whoever watches me, I'm going to try to make sure, hey, there's people who fought voluntarily as well. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, as I said, we're fighting YouTube. If you want to support us and if you want us to win, click the first link in the description. YouTube wants to take us down. They want to remove me from YouTube. They want to, they've demonetized the channel. They've shadow banned the videos. We barely get views anymore. Even though we're the first ones to make a lot of news, a lot of videos, a lot of topic, we break it down first. But it doesn't get any views because it doesn't go anywhere. They've removed a lot of pictures. We only have, there's a lot of things we can't even do on YouTube. So it's very hard. It's very hard, and we're fighting them, and we're gonna win. I'm sure we're gonna win. So please, if you want us to stay on air, please support the show, support the network that tells you the truth, that mobilize the youth and anybody that watches to love the country that they're living in. And it doesn't have to be Britain. If you're watching this from Brazil, love Brazil. They have rich history. Love Brazil. If you're watching this from Togo, yeah, love your nation. If you're watching this from Israel, love your nation. If you're watching this from Saudi Arabia, we'll love your nation. That's what we're here for, because there's a lot of people who want you to hate your land because they want to steal something from it. Or maybe they want you to be slaves to either them or the technocrat machines that they're slowly injecting in the, slowly bringing in, like the AI, like the machines, like this. We hate that, and we want pro-human individuals to be in charge. We want pro-God to be in charge, and we want people who will lead in the interest of the people. And that's what I'm here for, to tell you, to report the news and tell you what I think about it. And if you think that is good and you want me to stay here, help us fight YouTube. Thank you so much. Salute.
And the show host, Baraka Amuri.